You can't find this in a textbook. You can't find it on Instagram. No matter how long you look, no matter how much you think about it, it's just not there. So where do we find it? Here. What's up, friends? I'm back. So a question I've been thinking about for a while now is, what does it take to really be great? I mean, it's not just skills or money. You can have all those things and still just be good. But to be great requires being present. Now, this revelation, it hit me pretty hard in the face while I was watching The Last Dance, which I know has been out for a while now, but it really never gets old. But in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 ways in which I've been trying to actively build more presence in my life. You see, there's one line in particular from the very last episode of this Michael Jordan miniseries that I have not been able to shake since I first saw this. And it's one that I think perfectly encapsulates not only Michael's amazing career, but what the true meaning of greatness could mean for all of us.
Most people live in fear because we project the past into the future. Michael's a mystic. He was never anywhere else. His gift was not that he could jump high, run fast, shoot a basketball. His gift was that he was completely present, and that was the separator.
I mean, presence isn't talent. It's a state of mind. It's not something we're born with, but rather a skill that we can cultivate over time. I mean, yes, of course, it's going to require practice. It's going to require discipline, just like everything else in life. But here's the thing. Presence as a goal is well within all of our reach. So then the question becomes, how do we get there? Well, this is definitely something I have struggled with and I am still trying to figure out. But I do have a couple of things that have certainly helped me along the way, and I'd like to share those with you right now. So number 1 is meditation. Yes, I get it's obvious and it is totally cliche. But when you do sit still and you attempt to silence the millions upon millions of thoughts that inhabit your monkey mind, you are, in fact, practicing the art of becoming more present. And I don't care if you meditate for 1 minute or for 1 hour, if you use an app or you're sitting in silence, or even if you find yourself completely overwhelmed by distractions the entire time. The point is not to strive for perfection. It is simply to show up to the practice and give it your best shot every single time. And so for beginners, I'd encourage you to start small. Just get into the habit of doing a 5 to 10 minute meditation every single day and just get very consistent with your routine. Now, I have found the app Insight Timer to be especially great for beginners because A, it's free, and B, they have a huge catalog of guided sessions and educational resources that you can pick and choose from based on where you're at with your practice. Now, if you're a little bit more on the advanced meditation front, then I'd say look into something like a silent retreat or maybe even try like a weekend-long dopamine detox. It is challenging, but what's great is it's going to help free you from the trappings of everyday distractions, so you can actually take that practice to a deeper level. Now, number 2, it has to do with visual techniques. So there's a handful of different visual techniques that you can actually use to shift your mind into a state of heightened focus and presence. And the 2 ones I'm going to talk about here are optic flow and panoramic vision. So whenever we're moving through space, whether that be a brisk walk through the woods or even a long cruise down the highway, we're in this state of optic flow, meaning our brains are kind of recognizing how fast we're going and can sort of process our sense of movement past other objects. It also explains why we tend to walk in a lateral line towards our destination and not just randomly off to the side, walking haphazardly anytime we're trying to get somewhere. It's also the driving force behind this notion of taking a stroll to help clear the mind. Because when we shift our visual field from this fixed, two-dimensional state, aka staring at our screens, to something that's a little bit more active and multi-dimensional, like walking around and taking in your environment, well, what it's doing is it's actually causing a signal shift in the brain as well. It moves us from this state of intense focus to one that's a little bit more calm yet still aware. And another visual technique that's just a bit different but also kind of achieves the same exact effect is called panoramic or peripheral vision. And let me explain how that works. So whenever you're on your phone or you're reading a book or staring at your screen, which is probably a heck of a lot of time for all of us, what you're doing is you're engaged in what's called focal vision, meaning your eyes are dialed into whatever the object is right in front of you. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very important mode indeed, because it does allow us to maintain focus and concentration on one particular task for very large stretches of time. However, it's also extremely taxing from an energy standpoint, and it can often lead to feelings of stress and anxiety if we overdo it, just like a lot of things in life. So the counterpart to focal mode is what we call panoramic mode, which basically happens anytime we look up and down and all around our visual landscape. Think about stargazing or watching the sunset over the ocean. It is so much less straining on the eyes because there is no single point of focus here. So it does allow your gaze to be soft and therefore allows the brain to relax. But you don't actually need to climb a mountain and look out at the vista or wait for the sun to set to achieve these parasympathetic effects. I mean, just simply taking 5 minutes and getting up from your computer to look around the room or glance out a window, all those things can totally suffice. And of course, if you guys want to learn a little bit more, I will link up a couple of resources in the show notes below that really goes into some great detail around the science behind these 2 particular visual techniques. And finally, let's wrap things up by talking about breathwork and cold therapy. 2 things that I think, when done in tandem, can have pretty profound effects on our mental state and ability to stay present. Now, I'd really like to ride this basketball theme out till the very last moment, so let's talk in metaphors for a second and say that the cold plunge you see right here, this is Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals. And you are Michael Jordan. So yes, I do get that we all kind of know how this ends, but hang with me. I mean, sure, you're a 6-time NBA champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, all-star player with, over 1,000 games under your belt. So you pretty much mastered your craft and have all the accolades in the world to prove it. So naturally, you've earned the right to just dive right into that cold plunge if you want to. But you don't. Because you're a better player when you warm up first. It gives you the edge to push yourself just a little bit harder, allows you to stay in the game just a little bit longer. I mean, when given the chance to take something very strenuous and then just make it a little bit easier on yourself, wouldn't you do it? Well, that's kind of exactly the point of breath work in this cold plunge metaphor for life. Breath work is the warm-up and the cool down and everything that fills the space between what you think you can't do and then what you realize you actually can. I mean, breath work is so important, yet it's so simple and therefore so often overlooked. I mean, think about the countless number of times that you spend inhaling and exhaling every single minute of every hour of every day, never once really having to think about it because it's just happening automatically, involuntarily, until at some point you're, say, in the middle of a run or an intense swim. You're staying in your lane, you're jacking your heart rate up, and then it hits you. And I like to call this the oh shit moment, as in, oh shit, nothing in the world matters right now except for you and your breath. It is all you can think about, all you can focus on. It's just that deep inhale and exhale that's moving you forward and giving you life. Well, this, my friends, is what being fully present is all about. In this state, you are not worrying about the last breath you drew, and you're not even thinking about the future one you're about to take. Because when you are fully fucking present, all you can focus on is the rise and fall of that single breath happening inside you right now in this present moment, which, in my opinion, is quite the perfect metaphor for how to live your damn life, if I can say so myself. And wouldn't it be great if we could all be like, I don't know, 10% more present in everything we do every single day? I mean, I think it is totally possible. It will require a little bit of time and work, but it's within our reach. So then, realistically speaking, what could that look like? Where do you begin? Well, maybe you start meditating for just 10 minutes every day, first thing in the morning, and then see how you feel after doing it for 30 days straight. Try your hand at taking a couple of those 5-minute breaks throughout the day to clear your mind, reset those eyes by taking a walk or just staring out at nature. Look for some new ways to challenge yourself mentally and physically, at least once a week. Maybe that could be an ice bath, that could be a sauna, HIIT training. I don't know. You decide what that looks like for you. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, just make that commitment to yourself to do a little bit of breath work every single day. And I don't care when or how or what type of breath work you do, although I will say doing Wim Hof before you go to sleep is probably not the best idea. But the point here is don't overthink it. Just do it. But if you're struggling on where to start, or if you have a practice but you just kind of want to change it up, I've shared some of my favorite resources in the show notes below, including this phenomenal new app that I just discovered. It's called Othership. And for me, it's like walking into some sort of like digital breathwork university. You get to choose from this massive curriculum of all these different breathwork styles to try. Things like box breathing. I have never heard of vocal toning, but I tried that the other day and that was fun. Breath of fire, the list goes on. So definitely check it out. I am not sponsored, but I think they have a free 2-week first trial. So I will link that up for you guys in the show notes below. And so in wrapping up, I just want to say thanks. Thanks to all you guys for watching. If you're still around, I love you. And then finally, just want to recognize and say thanks to a couple of people who are also on YouTube. Shervin, Kyle, Brandon, thank you for reaching out and encouraging me to get back on that horse. It means the world. And I would encourage everyone watching here to go and give them some love, because what they're doing with their channels has inspired me. It's kind of reignited that fire inside me to give this my all. This is a space that we get to showcase our creativity, get to share something with all of you. And God, it feels good to be back. So thank you. And until next time, which will not be 3 months, I promise, I cannot wait to catch you on the next one.